You know, there's a really hard truth when it comes to artificial intelligence. And it's this. A brilliant, absolutely cutting-edge model that's trained on bad data, it's going to lose every single time to a simple model trained on good data. So, welcome to Data Acquisition. This is part 1 of our explainer series on the ML lifecycle. Let's dive in.
Just to give you the big picture really quick, the ML pipeline basically breaks down into 4 main stages. You've got data acquisition, data preprocessing, modeling, and finally, deployment. In this explainer, we're zeroing in on part 1, because literally every successful project has to start right here, not with the fancy, shiny models, but, well, with the data itself.
Section 1, what it actually is, the foundational blueprint. So what do we actually mean by data acquisition? Well, it's the foundational process of identifying, finding, and collecting the raw data that your machine learning model is going to learn from. Now, I know what you might be thinking. It kind of sounds like just a boring administrative formality, right? Like checking a box before the real hard work begins. But actually, scratch that. It's the exact opposite. This is the bedrock. It's the foundation that literally everything else sits upon.
And the stakes here, they're incredibly blunt. Think of it like this. If you feed clean, high-quality inputs into a machine, you get a beautifully functional output. But if you feed messy, low-quality inputs into that exact same machine, you're getting a completely broken result. It's the classic garbage in, garbage out rule, perfectly visualized.
If you caught our previous explainer on the ML Engineer roadmap, you'll see how this connects right back to it. This is exactly the data engineering phase we highlighted as the essential first step. Because here's the reality. No amount of clever, sophisticated downstream modeling is ever going to fully compensate for data that was wrong, noisy, or just plain insufficient right from the get-go.
Moving on to Section 2, the main sources, building the data toolkit.
Okay, first up in our toolkit, we have public data sets. These are openly available, often totally free, pre-collected data repositories. If you tuned into our Hugging Face explainer recently, their Dataset Hub is a perfect, concrete example of this. You've got literally thousands of ready-to-use datasets all uploaded by the community. They're completely searchable and, honestly, super deeply documented.
Next up, APIs and web scraping. This is all about pulling fresh, current data directly from the web or from a third-party service. You'll need this toolkit when you're looking for something highly current or super specific. Like, say you're scraping financial news feeds for real-time sentiment analysis, that's a situation where existing public datasets are just going to fall short.
Then, we have internal data. We're talking about a company's own existing record stuff like transactions, server logs, or customer interactions. And you know, the true value of internal data is just how unique it is. It gives you a serious competitive edge precisely because absolutely no public dataset could ever replicate your organization's proprietary footprint. It's your secret sauce.
Finally, we have synthetic data. These are artificially generated examples that are close enough to real-world patterns to be practically useful. And this source, it's becoming utterly essential these days. Because think about it, when real data is highly sensitive for privacy reasons, like in medical imaging, or it's just way too expensive to collect at scale, like those weird edge cases for autonomous driving, what do? Well, you just algorithmically generate exactly what you need.
So to recap real quick, public datasets, APIs and web scraping, internal data, and synthetic data. These are your 4 pillars. And in the real world, in actual production, most enterprise machine learning projects don't just pick one and call it a day. No way. They blend multiple sources from this toolkit to build a deeply robust, layered dataset.
So, what does this all mean for you? Well, here are the high stakes. The quality, the quantity, and the relevance of the data you acquire right at this step, it sets a hard ceiling on how good your final model can ever possibly be. Every single later stage can only work with what you collect right here. Good data raises that ceiling way up. Bad data, it just drops it right on your head. All right, looking back at our pipeline, step 1, data acquisition is now officially marked complete. We've established our bedrock, and remember, getting this stage wrong means absolutely nothing downstream can fully fix it. So with part 1 checked off, you can see step 2, data preprocessing, is coming up next.
And that pretty much wraps up part 1 of our ML Lifecycle Explainer series. If you're currently working on your own AI project, whether it's just a personal thing or for your business, and you want a hand getting that foundation absolutely right, reach out to us for AI consulting at info@atechhub.ca. Also, drop the word lifecycle in the comments below so you can get part 2 on data preprocessing, and make sure to subscribe for the rest of the series. But before you go, I want you to think about this. Is your AI project built on a foundation of solid concrete, or is it built on sand? Ponder that, and we'll see you in part 2.